Hello and welcome to the Ruth MacFit Podcast. Very, very happy to be here with you today, as always, trying something a little bit different. I've got a sit to stand desk, but I always just sit. But I'm standing right now, and I'm having to be very aware that the mic is here so that I don't end up walking off in different directions too far away from it. Anyway, I'm very happy to be here with you. And I'm looking forward to chatting to you about a mindset shift that can really change how we approach our health, our goals, our life, and something that might be holding us back. And this mindset shows up in so many areas of life: home, goals, the decisions we make, and our self-belief. So let's explore it a little bit more. And that is the just in case mindset. And I think we can ask ourselves, is it a lack of commitment or a lack of belief in ourselves? And then most importantly, how do we move past it? So I do like to start with a question, and I'm going to start with quite a simple question that will probably have you holding up multiple fingers and multiple toes. How many times have you held on to something just in case you might need it? Maybe it's a random cable. Now, I don't like to point fingers this early on in a podcast, but if I were, I'd be pointing at my husband, firmly at him. And it wouldn't just be one cable, it would be a whole drawer of cables, which I probably need to just bin and he won't even notice. Anyway, I digress. But it could also be a notebook, some clothes that just don't fit you anymore, that rice cooker that you bought but you never use. And then how is it benefiting us keeping those things? Now, it could be that it's really practical thinking, sure. But if we apply the same logic to our goals and our beliefs about ourselves, then we could start seeing a deeper pattern there. I was doing a check-in with a lovely client recently, and she's lost some weight and she wasn't sure whether to get rid of her larger clothes, because what if she can't maintain that progress? What if she gains weight in the future and will need them again? And it did get me thinking, how many times do we hold on to something, not because we need it, but because we don't fully trust ourselves to not move forward or to maintain what we've achieved so far? And this way of thinking can be linked to that scarcity mindset, the idea of fearing loss, whether that's financial, material, or personal. And we make decisions based on avoiding potential scarcity rather than on what serves us best right now. And you hear about this quite a lot when it comes to eating and labeling things as bad food. You know, if you tell yourself you can't have chocolate, then when you do eat it, you know that you won't be having it for a while and it's scarcity and you end up eating or overeating it. And in the case of my client, it could be that she was holding on to those clothes because it felt practical, but it could also have been that it was a subconscious way of giving herself permission to fail, kind of going, look, it's okay, don't worry if you do, I've got you, we're okay. Those clothes likely cost money, right? And I know that if we're going back to scarcity, it can feel so wasteful to get rid of things that you've bought that were lovely, you loved them at the time. But if your goal is fat loss, for example, then we need to think about our reasoning for keeping these things. And I think there is a really important question that we can ask ourselves before we embark on any goal. And I've mentioned this in a podcast before for sure. And that is, are you interested in change or are you committed to change? Because there really is a huge difference. Now, when we're interested in change, we look at all the different opportunities that might fit. We dabble a bit here, we dabble a bit there. We change our minds, we second guess ourselves. We focus on many different things. We entertain lots of different options. But when we're committed, we're going all in. And I will chat to you in a bit about what commitment looks like, because I think sometimes we misinterpret what that means. Now, one example of going all in that I really like is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Maybe we need to be more Arnie. He talks about it in his book, Be Useful, which I read a little while ago. He talks about the incredible opportunities that he turned down because they didn't align with his bigger vision. And the main thing is that lots of people were thinking he was insane for turning down these opportunities, because what if something else didn't come up later? What if these were the only opportunities in acting that he ever got? But he wasn't collecting backup plans just in case things didn't work out. He'd gone all in for his overall goal. And I've seen this scarcity mindset, or this just in case mindset, in real life quite recently, outside of my clients, in my own family dynamic. My eldest son, he had a careers advisor meeting recently, And by the way, they're way better than they were when I was in school. When I was in school, I remember going to careers advisor. I was about 16, and I went in thinking they were going to give me all these options of what I could do. And they said, "What do you think you want to do?" And I said, "I don't know, maybe teaching." And they went, "Okay, here you go. This is how you do that." But it's not like that. And the reason I tell you that story is because I don't want you to think this is a judgment on careers advisors. It just gave me an opportunity to question, to reflect, to think about this. Now, my son, he's 15 and he's on the autistic spectrum. He's really interested in studying criminology. It's something he's pretty passionate about. It's not something we've pushed into, although I do love a bit of true crime, but it's something he really likes. And he was telling the careers advisor about this, about why he wanted to study criminology and what he thought he could do with that and the career opportunities. And she suggested that he also look at other careers and other courses in case criminology didn't work out, because it's notoriously hard to get into those positions, the ones that he was mentioning. And he came home saying she thought maybe I could look at town planning. Now, I do get it. Keeping your options open does make sense to an extent. But I also think, at 15, go all in on something you're passionate about and know that you can change your mind. Like, he doesn't even need to know he's going to change his mind. But if he isn't enjoying it and liking it after he's done a BTEC or whatever in it, then he can change his mind and he'll still come out with qualifications he needs to go and do something else should he wish to. Then the main observation or question I had after this is that, does having too many backup plans, or will having too many backup plans, dilute his commitment to the thing that he really wants? And then if this applies to all of us, how many times do we delay going all in because we want that safety net? We want a backup plan. I know that I've done that for sure, so many times. And this way of thinking leads to that decision paralysis, which is a term coined by psychologist Barry Schwartz from his book, The Paradox of Choice. The more options we have, the harder it becomes to make a firm decision. Instead of making progress, we hesitate, we rethink, and we often end up in the same place. And I see this all the time with people that are approaching change. They're looking at losing body fat. They're really beating themselves up, over analyzing things. They're giving themselves so many things to focus on that the main goal becomes diluted by confusion. And I don't think social media helps with this. And we could, on a simple basis, relate this to going into a restaurant and you've got a huge menu and you're like, oh my goodness, this is overwhelming. I can't even choose. There's too much choice. So we reduce the menu, we reduce the options a little bit and hone in into what we really actually want and what is really going to improve our lives. This just in case mindset can also come from a fear of judgment. We fear stopping drinking just in case our friends won't think we're fun friends anymore. We fear asking for a promotion at work just in case our boss doesn't see us as being capable enough. We fear joining a gym just in case we don't fit in or others will judge us for not knowing what we're doing. These fears can hold us back in so many ways, keeping us stuck in things that really we've outgrown. And we don't even know. There's no actual evidence to support that. We're doing it just in case or not doing it just in case. But if we were to take that option, what is the worst thing that will happen? I think it's important to ask ourselves if this messaging is giving us permission to not try. In the Midlife Habit Scorecard, which if you haven't done it, I would highly recommend you do it. I created a scorecard where you just go through and answer some multiple choice questions. And the aim is to see the habits that are serving you well right now, and then to give you some pointers on where you might focus next. And it's personalized to you. But one thing that I did notice is that at midlife, so many of you struggle with that self-comparison. Seeing someone else as further ahead can actually make you feel like it's not worth trying. And you might tell yourself that it's easier for them. They don't have kids. They don't have as much weight to lose. They haven't got as much going on. But the reality is, and this is important for the just in case mindset too, you're not trying to live their life. You're living yours. Focusing on them too much takes away from you showing up for yourself. And there is a great strategy to help with this, which I really want to share with you. And I'm going to in just a moment, so bear with me. I think it's a good time to move on to how we can overcome this mindset. And first is going to be decluttering our mind and our space, letting go of those things that are holding you back to that old version of you, the one that you are ready to leave behind. If they don't work with you where you are today, then let them go. Let them go. Goodbye. See ya. Really, it's a sunk cost if you're keeping things that you're never going to use and they're just taking up space and clutter around you. If you've lost weight, then get rid of those clothes that no longer fit. And if you're committing to something new, then don't let those backup plans hold you back. Definitely ask yourself if you're committed or interested. If you're serious about the goal, you're going to go all in, but I really don't want you to confuse what going all in looks like. We often think it's like a complete overhaul of everything. We think that we've got to stop doing the things we love. We think we've got to stop eating certain foods. We think we've got to exercise way more. We think we've got to be in an extreme calorie deficit. Whatever it is, we think it's a complete overhaul. And if we focus on too many things, then we're likely going to dilute them. We're confusing the message. What I mean by committing is choosing those things that you can commit to, making it about the actions. Say you have a fat loss goal. You might go, well, one thing that's stopping me getting to where I want to be is the fact that I'm pretty sedentary during the day. So I want to start trying to move more. So you go all in on your commitment to a daily walk, and that might be 5 or 10 minutes to begin with. But whatever you commit to, you are going all in. You know it's something you can manage, and you know that you're not going to come up with all the reasons why you can't. It might be that you realize that you don't eat any veg in your diet. So instead of going, my goal is to eat healthily, which is quite vague, you go, I'm going to make sure that I'm getting 5 portions of veg or fruit and veg each day. And to make that easier, I'm going to have some at each meal. Or I'm going to make sure I'm having my breakfast, and I'm going to go all in on committing to a really nutrient-dense breakfast, knowing that this will set me up well for the day. But the point is, it's just committing to those things that work for you, the things that you know that you can do without too much difficulty. Just tweaking things and then committing to that. Then listen to the stories you tell yourself. Do it calmly and be honest with yourself. Is it because you're scared, or is there actually truth in what you're telling yourself? And here is the one that I really wanted to talk to you about. No doubt I'll talk about it again soon because I'm really enjoying the book. The book is called Let Them by Mel Robbins. You may well have heard of this. You may well have read it because I know that she's done loads of podcasts and talks on it in the past. Now, let them would be if you're worried about doing things just in case other people might judge you. Maybe somebody's baked some cake and you feel like you have to have it just in case they're upset with you, just in case they judge you for not being a good friend. And in the case of let them, it would be let them judge you. Let them feel that way. It's not you. Let them do them. If you're spending your life trying to control how others think or feel, you're constantly worried about the actions that other people might or might not take, how they might view you. The response and the thinking of Mel Robbins is to say, let them, because the only thing you can truly control is yourself. So you focus on you and you let them think that way, fine. It releases so much mental energy and brain space. It gives you more and more time and more energy to focus on what you can do. And that is where her let me then comes in. And that is when you choose to do what you will do. And here's the thing that she just said. I went on a run yesterday and I heard this bit and I was like, I need to mention that. The true power comes when you stop making changes to make other people proud, doing things to make other people think better of you, to prove to other people that you are capable. The power really comes when you do things so that you'll be proud of yourself. And that is when we stop comparing and we measure our progress against where we started, where we are, and not the ideal of where we want to be or where our friend is. It's not their lives that we're living, it's ours. And we show up in whatever way we can for us. And we can be so proud of the decisions that we're making and the changes that we're making for us. Let the rest of them think whatever they want to think. And finally, I want to say, don't commit to changing everything. Commit to one decision at a time. Overthinking is overwhelming. It keeps us stuck. So pick a path, commit for a certain amount of time and give it everything you can. And that might be working with a coach and choosing a coach. But then don't look at loads of different options, listen to loads of people. That isn't you being committed or trusting the process. That's you second guessing yourself. So calmly cut out the noise. Don't feel like you've got to overhaul everything, but when you do commit properly and commit to, say, at least 30 days. The just in case mindset can be sneaky, but awareness is definitely the first step to overcoming it. It could be decluttering, shifting your thinking, or committing fully to your goals. But small steps can definitely lead to huge changes. So have a little think about the thing that you've been holding on to, just in case. It could be that it's a mindset thing that you've been holding on to, beliefs or patterns in behavior. It could be that the cable drawer or the rice cooker or anything else. And with spring being here, it's a perfect time, right, to have a clear out, especially when the weather's so lovely. So let me know what you think. I'd love to talk to you about this. And if you've enjoyed this episode, then I would love you to share it with someone else that needs to hear it. And also, please do subscribe so you don't miss out on more deep dives into health, fitness, mindset, and personal growth. Until next time, thank you so much for being here. And remember, commitment beats hesitation every time. And committing doesn't mean committing to everything, right? Remember to be aware of your time and energy. Thank you so much for being here. You can find me on Instagram at Ruth MacFit, and my website where you can find out more about coaching options is www.ruthmacfit.com. You can also join our waitlist and be first to know when our coaching is opening again and when we're accepting new members to the Ruth MacFit community. I will pop in the links in the show notes. So thank you very much. Goodbye.